Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Living Our Core Values series, To the Journey. Merle, I'm really excited to talk about my favorite part of working at Marriott International today.
Me too, Brian. So what's your favorite part?
My favorite part is all the amazing people I get to work with every day, my coworkers. And that's what the second pillar of Take Care is all about.
Hey, that's my favorite part too. And it's a really important component of Take Care. Our coworkers may not be the first thing we think about when we focus on our well-being, but the people we spend our time with and the relationships we build along the way are so important.
I've always said, it's not just about the journey, but it's about the talented people along the way with you.
Brian, that's a great point. When we feel like we belong, we can focus our energy on nurturing our existing relationships, building new ones, and taking the time to learn, contribute, and grow with Marriott.
I totally agree, and I don't think it stops there. I'd say when we take time to get to know our coworkers, we start to notice the things that make us unique, and very often the things we also have in common with each other. And the things we have in common help us build strong working relationships, even friendships, and that's what unity is all about at Marriott.
Unity is what strengthens our culture and our company because we are a family. Marriott started as a family business over 90 years ago, and we're still a family today, just a bigger one. And Brian, I'm so proud to be a part of this family.
I feel the exact same way. And now let's listen to a fascinating conversation about unity. Enjoy, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone. We're thrilled to have two special guests with us today. In studio, please welcome from Marriott International Chief Lodging Services Officer, the Americas, Erica Alexander. And dialing in from his office in Chicago, Illinois, USA, is Senior Client Partner with Korn Ferry Hay Group, Andres Tapia. Thanks so much for being here. Let's get right to it. Erica, from your perspective, what does it mean to take care of your coworkers, and why is this something that's so important at Marriott?
Our aspiration at Marriott is to be the world's favorite travel company. So you don't get to be the favorite anything if the people who are delivering that promise every day don't personally feel favored. And so for me, that's about how do we create an environment where people feel inspired and motivated. And we're in the hospitality business. And so it's important for people to be inspired to feel hospitable.
Well, that's very, very inspiring. Thank you. Andres, in your experiences in working with people around the world, can you answer that same question from a broader global perspective?
Yeah, you think about people in their work lives, they spend more hours at work than they do doing anything else. So it's so important for workplace to be a welcoming, accepting place where one can not only do their best work, but also that they're seen as whole people. And so to be able to have that sense of I care for my coworkers and my coworkers care for me is vital for the well-being of individuals, the well-being of the workforce, and the well-being of the company and its mission.
That's so true. Andres, how would you describe a welcoming and empowering place for everyone?
I would describe it as a place where people see me as a person, a place where people value me, where people help me, and where people allow me to help them. It's a very human thing to not only ask and need help, but also a very human thing to want to give help. So I think to see me, value me, help me, and allow me to help them, I think will be part of a welcoming environment.
Yeah, I think the question is how do you translate that into real behaviors that leaders and coworkers can demonstrate every single day? So whether that's making direct eye contact with someone, proactively asking for their opinion or a point of view about a topic or a business issue at hand. And it doesn't matter where they work inside of the hotel team. Part of feeling like you're a part of a family or a community is being drawn into the conversations within that family and community. And that doesn't happen organically. It is a purposeful thing that has to be made to happen. And I think when people feel that, they respond to it in a really meaningful way.
Collaboration is a very big part of this conversation.
No question.
But our associates may be asking themselves, I have a job to do, I'm super busy, what's in it for me to expend my energy making sure my coworkers feel like they belong? What would you say to them, Andres?
Well, it goes both ways. It's about reciprocity. If we don't give, we won't receive. And no person can do it all alone, particularly in the hospitality business. It really requires team effort. So one could decide, I don't have enough time to give, but in the end, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you emotionally. It's going to cost you practically. It's going to cost in the mission of being able to serve your guests in a very hospitable and welcoming way. So there's a lot that will be gained. People do respond well to kindness, and they do respond well to feeling welcome, and they will want to reciprocate. So it will come back.
There's not one person on this earth, whether you're inside of Marriott or you're someplace else, gets through this journey by themselves. Today, you're the person who's needed. Tomorrow, you may need someone else.
Sounds like you're both talking about connections. Andres, can you talk about how do our unique qualities enable us to build these connections with others?
Well, I think this is a good moment to discuss the power of diversity and the power of where we are different and where we are similar. The importance of making connection is to be able to see one another, and to see one another is to see us in our own vast, beautiful array of the things that make us uniquely different. And so it might be by our nationality, our sexual orientation, our personality, the experiences we've had in and outside of hospitality. And the only way we're going to discover how it is that we are different is to be curious about other people and to find out their stories. But we cannot possibly begin to guess other people's stories just by how they look. So let's discover those unique things that make us different. And in the process, also do the work of discovering the things that, despite our differences, we have in common. There might be common interests outside of work. It might be common hobbies or passion for music or for sports, and all those things that we connect with one another, both on the things that we have in common and the things that we're different. All those knit us together in a way that helps us care for one another and be enriched by the experience.
Connecting our similarities through our differences. Andres, we know that it's emotionally important for coworkers to support each other. Is it technically important? Are there research findings that support this?
Oh, absolutely. No matter what study is done, every time the question is asked, do companies that commit to greater diversity and inclusion measure in a variety of ways through their programs, their public statements, and their actual representation of underrepresented groups in positions of leadership? Whenever they look at any financial metric or any talent metric, companies that commit and execute against diversity and inclusion outperform companies that do not. The data is overwhelmingly positive that way. Now, the key thing, it's not just diversity automatically leads to this, it's diversity plus inclusion. And inclusion is that part that is about welcoming and valuing people. Those are the companies that outperform those that do not.
There are 1,000 different ways you can not only help, but be helped day in and day out in a hotel. And sometimes we think it's the really big, extraordinary gestures that people remember most, but I think not. I think it's really the 1,000 small ways people help every day.
Erica, how do you specifically feel about building unity at Marriott?
Yeah, I think it starts with an acknowledgement that within our associates and our hotels, we represent every walk of life, every language, every point of view on the world and world's issues. So you have to ask yourself, unity in service of what? What is the higher order issue? And we have shared language that we've been living with and nurturing over the years. How we do business is important as the business we do. Take care of associates and they take care of the customers. So unity starts with unifying around a set of core values, putting people first and having a common set of language and behaviors and guiding principles that help shape what we do and how we do it every day. I think as leaders, it means we have to live it and lead by example and bring people into the fold who have a shared point of view. In the hospitality business, you can't thrive in an environment with that kind of diversity if you don't, in your belly, have a fundamental belief that people are extraordinary at every walk of life and every corner of the world.
What a beautiful concept, that people are extraordinary.
Yeah.
Andres, how do you feel about that? What are your top 3 guiding principles for creating a welcoming and nurturing environment?
I would say be curious, share about yourself, and be kind. And I think those 3 things will get you a long way.
In a global society, that's all you need, right?
That's right.
Erica, what are your top 3 guiding principles to creating a nurturing environment?
The first is to remember that inclusion is purposeful. It does not happen organically. It's important that you draw in people to the conversations. Often it's the one who's most quiet, who has the most unique and interesting perspective on an issue or a topic at hand. Secondly, I think it's important then to listen actively, to make a good eye contact, to ask qualifying questions, to really get underneath it, because the more you draw out of people, the more their talents really begin to present themselves in a conversation. And as business leaders responsible for strengthening the business, it's our job to really unleash people's talents and capabilities, and digging for that, I think, is an important part of the equation. And I think the last piece is, if you are a person who brings joy and energy and passion, or if you are really sort of introspective or quiet, honor your style, but do it in a way that keeps in mind that effort is important, but it's results that matter. And we can achieve those results in a lot of different ways. And don't be hindered by how you see other people pulling it off. You bring your own unique style and approach, and you'll surprise yourself and the people around you.
Well, thank you to you both for joining us and giving your personal stories and your wise, sage advice about connections and just creating a welcoming environment. And thank you all for joining us. We'll be back soon.